not even from Jersey anymore. You've lived down here for almost 30 years.
Oh, no.
I said,
no.
I said, Mom, how dare you? She was bullshit. She was busting balls with me, but still, I was like,
no. I haven't lived in New Jersey for almost 20 years, but still, once a Jersey girl, always a Jersey girl.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. And my mom was just, like I said, she was busting balls with me because she knew that I would flip out. Yeah. But we were saying, and the next part of the conversation was, is it only people from Jersey that are, and New York City too, but like only people from Jersey? Yes, Goldberg's in Westwood. Yes, Jennifer. Are we like, we're like a unique breed in that we are all, like you just said, once a Jersey girl, you are always a Jersey girl. Like, from Jersey, doesn't matter where you move to. No offense to people from Mississippi, but I don't know that people from Mississippi are like, yeah, I'm from Mississippi and I'll always be. I mean, maybe. Hey, Joe.
Nice.
Yes, with the Knicks hat.
I don't know what you were doing there, but you look very intent on whatever it was. Hello.
I was saying, I'm here.
Yes.
Did you get your donut?
Yes, Jersey girls represent this Jersey girl. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm late because I had to get my Dunkin'.
It's all good.
We talked about that.
It's all good.
Did you get a donut? What'd you get?
No. We were talking. I don't like sweet breakfast. When I was pregnant, I had a donut whole thing, which Mallory also in our group had the same thing. I look like shit, by the way. But no, I got. I did order turkey sausage and egg. Not taco. It's called a wake up wrap, but this has no turkey sausage in it.
Oh my God.
It's just an egg.
That looks awful. That's what you get for ordering anything other than coffee and donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. I know they changed their name to D&D because they're trying to expand, but they no.
Joe, you're the only one in Jersey and you have access to like the best like sausage, egg and cheese, or any like Taylor ham, egg and cheese. And what are you doing going to Dunkin'?
It's blasphemy. I will admit it was close and I thought convenient, but apparently it's the world's worst Dunkin' Donuts and they just can't get the one job they have right.
Oh my God.
Also, like, I don't know what's going on down in Virginia today, but it's like a monsoon here.
You're getting what we got last night.
Yeah.
It's beautiful today. It's nice out today. It was nice for part of the day yesterday. And then it turned into like tornado warnings, monsoon. Yeah. It looked like Judgment Day last night. And then overnight it rained. And now today you're getting what we had yesterday. So
it's so bad.
Yeah. Well, considering that we don't have any weather service folks anymore in the federal government, we're working out all right with our local weather, I guess, but we can't say so much about the middle part of our country that is getting decimated by storms and tornadoes and the poor folks there. Yeah, FEMA is not getting funded, and they fired a whole bunch of National Weather Service people. We're going into tomorrow's June 1st, beginning of hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we're supposed to get 10 named storms again this year? So.
And right, these are people who largely voted for him. I mean, not all, but folks down there in Kentucky, folks in Missouri, when you got, Sarah Huckabee shoot your dinner, Arkansas, asking for help. And he's not even he's not even talking about what's happening to these people. And when are these people going to wake up and be like, oh yeah, he didn't give a shit about me?
Oh, could I just say, because you mentioned Sarah Huckabee Sanders, how just completely satisfying. I'm going to try to be a good person and say, I feel a little bad for Arkansas because there are real people there who have.
Yeah, there's good people from Arkansas.
They're going to have real consequences.
Yes.
What they're saying, but what they're doing. But can I just say the satisfaction with which I read this little cat fight between Leonard Leo? I guess it's a one-sided cat fight between Donald Trump going after Leonard Leo, who, for people who don't know, Leonard Leo is worth $1 billion because some old guy died and left Leonard Leo $1 trillion, I don't know, some obscene amount of money.
Billion, though, because he's a billionaire, right? Legit.
Yeah. Oh, legit.
Yeah.
It's at least 1 billion. I'm not sure, maybe more. But in order to effectively buy up our federal judiciary. And Leonard Leo, to his credit, and the Federalist Society have been doing a very good job. And I've been saying for a very long time, the Democrats suck at this because they, for the last 30 years, should have been emulating the Federalist Society and having their own pipeline for their own judges to go through. But of course, Democrats are like, oh, no. Our pipeline is Harvard and Yale Law School. No, because those people come into the Federalist Society from there too, like a Brett Kavanaugh, like a Sam Alito, like a Clarence Thomas, like an Amy Coney Barrett. And what's interesting to me is that Leonard Leo owns the Supreme Court. He does. Not even a question.
Yes.
And what is going to happen now that Trump has gone after Leonard Leo? Because as much as I think Alito and Thomas are MAGA, I think they're more Leonard Leo, because I think all of their money, all of their little jaunts on yachts and trips and wherever they all go at somebody's expense, it is at the expense of people who are aligned with Leonard Leo, if not Leonard Leo himself.
That's correct. It's him and the guy from Texas, who's
the statues guy with the
what's his name? It's escaping me.
I'll look it up.
But this is where we're not having Michelle, because she knows. She's like a encyclopedia with these people. But yeah, the guy down in Texas who basically bought and owns
Harlan Crow.
Thomas. What's
Harlan Crow?
Harlan Crow. That's right. He's the other one. That's the guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the listen, as someone who used to be a part of all of this, I can tell you that Leonard Leo and Harlan Crow and these guys have been investing their billions for decades into buying out the Supreme Court and owning the federal judiciary. This has been the long-term plan since the 70s, really, after Roe v. Wade and all that. That movement understood that this is the other front by which you fight the culture war, because they know that the courts, that's the last line of defense. And so the fact that and state legislatures, because when Barack Obama was president and the Tea Party was emerging, what did Republicans do? They went right to state legislatures and said, okay, the Democrats are riding high now. They've got their guy, right? They Yes, We Can and the songs and all that. Everybody was feeling great. And they had the Obama coalition, the Obama folks. They took the playbook of the Republicans, did a 50 state strategy. And so Republicans said, okay, well, you guys are over here doing this on the federal level. We're going to go and invest in the state level. And they elected almost 1,000 state legislators and state senators across the country, plus governors. And now we are all paying the price for that investment, because guess who draws the congressional lines? It comes from the states. Guess who starts passing? It's the petri dish in the state to see what can pass and what can't. Look what's happening in Texas,
Florida,
all of that. So this is, we know of what we speak. So the Leonard Leos and the Harlan Crows and those guys that have been pulling the strings and paying for all these races and these super PACs, again, once Citizens United happened, then they said, oh, we can do dark money now, and put all that money in there. And Democrats are very much behind the 8 ball on this whole thing, which is, again, why it's so important now that we have access to independent media, folks like us that are out here on the ground trying to make this a bottom-up movement, because the top-down with the Democrats, they're up their own asses and they're still doing things like it's 1980, and it's not. And
it actually began even earlier, right? So I would say, I did a whole newsletter about this like 6 months ago, but it began in the 70s, right after Roe versus Wade, right?
Well, I said that about the
But and GOPAC started in the 70s. And
I know. I used to teach for GOPAC.
Right?
That's what
I'm saying, but I want people to we need to have Michael Steele on the show one day.
Oh yes, please.
Yes, because Michael Steele ran GOPAC.
Yes, I know.
And I know.
That's how I know Michael Steele.
I know you know. I'm talking about people in the chat who may not know.
It's like, this is your life with Tara and the GOP.
Tara, I'm going to tell you what happened to you.
Yes, I just told you what Democrats did, so go ahead.
I sat next to Michael on the train, so that's it.
I'm just telling people who may not be Tara.
Yeah, please do.
But what I'm just saying is, I've been beating this drum, and I'll tell you, GOPAC is still doing a really good job. I actually know the guy who runs it now, and he's a really effective guy, and he does this all the time. And I can't believe I'm blanking on his name, because I've been up all night, you guys. The people who just joined, I've been up all night with food poisoning, so my brain is not working right now. But
something else is probably not working either.
Not working too well, unfortunately. But the bottom line is that they do a job 24/7. Meanwhile, the Democrats have something called the National Democratic Legislative Committee, which I don't even know if it's around anymore. But when I used to run caucus operations in New Jersey, for instance, look who's here. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Not a soft chicken taco. Not a soft turkey breakfast taco. Like what don't
say taco. I don't eat tacos anymore. I think tacos are canceled. We have one taco.
We ordered Mexican food last night, and I was going through all the I was like, I can't get a chicken taco. I can't get one. I'm gonna have to get a beef burrito tonight because I can't do it.
Julie was talking about, we were talking about GOPAC and how the Democrats didn't really have an equivalent to GOPAC and their efficiency on this, because we started with the Leonard Leo stuff and what's going on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, did you guys show the graphic?
You know, I didn't show any graphics. I don't know how to press these buttons. I'm lucky we got the show started.
What graphic?
She's got, Captain.
I was like, I don't know what to do. But anyway, can you finish your point about GOPAC, and then Michelle can thank God.
Yeah. So my only point about GOPAC, and not just the GOPAC, but also the Federalist Society, is the Democrats have nothing like it, and it's amazing. And that's that. And now we can move on to Michelle's favorite topic, which I love also, which is our awesome Pope and Opus Dei.
Yeah.
Pope is dope, but I have a quick question. Sorry. I'm gonna be that person in the group. Can you guys explain what exactly GOPAC is before we move on? Because I want to move on, but like I know a little bit about some things that Michael Steele did, for instance, because he was in this book, How Democracies Die, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it was that one. But can you just, for me, I'm going to admit some ignorance here, or lack of knowledge, full knowledge on what GOPAC is, because I wonder if other people don't know.
Yeah, actually, fair point. You're absolutely right about that. So GOPAC is basically a teaching organization that the Republicans put together to go into state and local GOP chapters and teach people how to run campaigns.
Okay.
And so it's basically like a training.
Democrats have something like that, except it's not.
Right. That's what Julie was saying.
It's not big. Yeah. Like they do it every year. Yeah.
No. This is something that is the money goes into it, and they have people who are campaign professionals and who have, like, whether it's in communications, whether it's in grassroots organizing, direct mail back in the day. Now I'm sure it's, modernized, but there's a whole training program, and they take people like me and others who are GOPAC trainers, and they go to I'll give you an example. They brought me into the Spokane, Washington Republican Party. Me and Rich Galen, Michelle, that name will
rest in peace, Rich.
You. Yes. Rich Galen and I, this was 25 years ago, 2000.
He used to work for Quayle, right?
Yes.
Or Newt Gingrich.
Yep. And he was like one of those Republican communications consultants, smart guy. He was a little older than me. Mm-hmm. And so they brought him in and me to address the Spokane, Washington GOP Republican Party. And we spoke there, and I did a training session the next day where people came in, and there's like a whole program where you go down the list of certain things. They ask you questions about, like, what areas of campaigns do you want to focus on? And I can say, okay. And there's a training manual for that. And then we go in and we train folks and we teach them. You start with, school board or dog catcher. And then you work your way up, how to fundraise, how to create, how to pick a campaign manager. So the bottom line is, it's basically like a Tony Robbins version of how to run Republican campaigns, starting at the grassroots level and working your way up. And they would deploy people like me all over the country, wherever Republicans needed help in that, and train them how to do it.
Oh my God, we need that. Can we do that?
Wait, actually, Sarah, since you've been gone,
since you've been gone.
Love that song, by the way. Great karaoke song.
David Avella is the chairman of GOPAC.
Oh, okay, I know him.
Who's actually a really nice guy. But David Avella and I we used to be on the speaking circuit together when I was at Fox, and I can tell you that I think now they do more than that, thanks to Citizens United.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I think now they actually
5 years ago
help elect candidates directly. I think they actually like fund campaigns.
So now it's less the training and it's more just putting money into
everything.
Oh yeah,
they're very good and they're very effective.
Yes,
and we don't have anything like that.
Nope.
And they literally go into legislative. I mean, you asked David Avella about the partisan breakdown of, I'm going to make this up, Utah, and he will tell you every single district and where it's possible, where it's not possible.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they will go into these districts and they will invest serious money into getting these candidates elected. And you're absolutely right, because states are the laboratories of basically this country. They're the laboratories of what's possible with lawmakers. Somebody here said that Chris Matthews said Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. Actually, Bill Clinton said that.
That's right.
Did I say
he's right.
Yeah, Chris Matthews stole that from
true.
Yeah.
Both slightly problematic people, but yes.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started about Chris Matthews. I still can't believe that they didn't post that video of the panel I was on with him the week after the election in November this year. And
little lady.
Yeah,
listen,
what a
lady.
misogynistic.
I have such a great story about Chris Matthews. He's such a dick.
He is a
he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. I put him in his place, and women came up to me after that panel and thanked me because it was between him and David Urban. I had a lot going on. I was like, warrior woman, Wonder Woman during that panel, setting them all straight. But
yeah, they never posted that, and I'm sure that's not an accident. And
no doubt about it.
And Chris Matthews, I mean, listen, Chris Matthews. Does he make good TV? Yeah, like I'm whatever. But the bigger issue, I mean, I'm just saying, like, people like him. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I like Chris Matthews. But here's the thing: the way that he always spoke to Hillary Clinton was different. The way that he spoke to any other male candidate. Not to mention what he was doing behind the scenes. Heidi Presbala is the one who blew the whistle on his bad behavior, and God bless, because. She probably, she stopped it right in its tracks. And yes, he went away, but he's having his little moment where he's kind of coming back and he's getting invited to stuff. Yeah. This is where it's like, oh, these women, they ruin our lives. We never really, where did you go? You're still here.
Mel Gibson not canceled? Like, how the hell is Kevin Spacey back? Mel Gibson
because Donald Trump is president, Joe.
Yeah,
that's why.
And Kevin Spacey, I don't know if you saw recently, he made I saw some speech and he was like crying and saying that he had been like hunted down. I was like, dude, you are a predator.
Yeah, like
predator.
Stop
like
it.
Anthony Rapp, by the way, Anthony Rapp is the one who came forward about Kevin Spacey. Anthony Rapp, if you guys know him, don't know him, he was the original cast of Rent. He was a child actor also. He's a really great, nice guy. Not the type to just be making things up flagrantly, and certainly wouldn't about this. And, when he came forward, then a lot of other people did. And that's what happens. I mean, Julie, I'm sure you know better than anybody. Usually it takes one person and then the rest kind of start to trickle out. And the bravery,
Courage is contagious.
Exactly.
I do. Real quick,
just really quick. I just want to address this. Someone is asking why we don't have captions available on the live shows. We actually, there's not even a feature to really do that. StreamYard, which is the platform that we use to broadcast to all the different platforms, like doesn't offer a live captions service. So unfortunately they don't happen live, but if you go after on YouTube, there are automatic captions that are available. So just want to let you know.
You want me to tell a transcript story?
Yes, please.
Very briefly. I was a brand new Senate communications director for a senator from people from New Jersey. You might remember Governor Corzine before he was the governor.
Yep.
He was the senator from New Jersey, and he was the former chairman of Goldman Sachs before he became the senator. And I say that because he, at the time, spent like $70 million of his own money running for Senate, and that had been an unprecedented amount. This is back in 2000.
Yep.
Chris Matthews had spent his entire that entire year trashing John Corzine, and he kept, like, if it rained, he would trash John Corzine. He's buying a Senate seat, and by the way, fair.
Yeah.
But like there are other things to talk about. He's buying a Senate seat and he's got a stupid beard, and the beard is really, this is before beards became trendy. The beard is really stupid and I hate it and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair. You want to trash him for buying a Senate seat? Fine. You want to trash him for having a beard? Your prerogative.
Sorry, are you saying beard with a D?
Yeah, beard.
Beard.
Okay, like an actual beard.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
not
Which-
like a.
Not like Usha Vance. Like I mean, this isn't. I'm sorry, Julie. You were saying.
I did nothing. The story's over. I've got nothing. I got nothing left.
Sorry. I genuinely didn't know what you were saying.
I have nothing left to add to the story. Just move on to Opus Dei.
I mean, maybe beards are trendy. I don't know.
I
They
mean,
seem to be.
Beards are trendy more ways than one right now, I think.
Exactly.
At least in the Republican Party, they seem to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody here said not like talk person. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Go
God.
ahead, Prince. Seriously,
my
finish
God.
the story.
All right. So this story's really lame. So it was a pretty good story, but now it's gotten lame. So so this is like the first week Corzine's in the Senate. I'm a brand new Senate staffer. I don't really know him all that well. So it's like, I have to try to impress him. And we get a call from Chris Matthews' show. Can the senator come on? And I was like, I don't think so. You guys were really bad to him all year. And I don't think so. No. We're going to ask him about the Bush tax cuts. This is Bush was coming in. We're going to ask him about the Bush tax cuts. And we're going to ask him about, Bush was talking at the time about putting some sort of missile defense system in. And that's all we're going to talk about. And I said, okay, is that all we're going to talk about? You swear to me that's all we're going to talk about. And yes, I just spoke to Chris, and Chris swears. I said, you're not going to ask about buying the election, right? No, never. Chris is over that. You're not going to ask about the stupid beard, right? No, Chris is over that. Okay. So we go down to good old MSNBC, and James Carville is on in the segment before us. And James Carville and Chris Matthews get into like some massive blowout fight.
Of course.
And James Carville storms off the set and comes into the green room, and he's laughing because the whole thing is performative. Just so you know, all of cable news is performative. And
except when we're on, because we actually mean what we say.
We actually mean what we say, but a lot of these fights are performative. My fights with Scott Jennings, not performative.
Right. Mine either.
Yeah, but a lot of other stuff is. And he goes in, looks at Corzine, and he goes, I warmed him up for you. And Corzine was like really nervous because he hadn't done this before and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh shit, we're so screwed. So Corzine walks in and he sits down. And the first thing Chris Matthews says is, so how does it feel to have bought an election?
Of course he did. I knew where this was going. As a former comms director who used to do this, I knew exactly where this was going.
I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired because I'm the asshole who swore up and down that this was not going to happen. And we're going to talk about substance like the Bush tax cuts, which I think people care more about than buying an election. And Corzine is trying to be like a good guy about it. He's like, oh, I just thought you hated my beard. He goes, no, I hate that too. But I really hate the fact that you bought this election.
God, what an asshole. What an asshole.
The next day, we were sharing an office with Hillary Clinton. And because when you first move into the Senate, you don't have your own office. So, oh, what? Really?
I'm like, what?
I didn't know this.
I didn't know that either.
Is that real?
Weiner was on the fucking View yesterday.
No way.
No way. We will find it. Sorry, Julie. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get to that jerk.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So the next day, we were sharing an office with Hillary Clinton because when you first come into the Senate, you get your temporary offices and then they have to like make up your real office for a few months later. So we were sharing an office with Hillary Clinton. And so she comes in and she's carrying this huge bag of Reese's peanut butter cups. And she goes, where's John? Where's Corzine? And the receptionist is like, oh, we don't, he's not here right now. She goes, well, I want to talk to his comms person. And I was like, hi, Senator Clinton. I was like, I was 27. I was very young. I was like, hi, Senator Clinton. And he's carrying this bag of Reese's peanut butter cups. There must have been like 200 Reese's peanut butter cups in this little plastic bag. And she goes, I watched Chris Matthews yesterday, and I just want to tell you that you just tell John, job well done. And she takes a Reese's peanut butter cup and she gives one to me. And she says, give this to him for a job well done. And at that point, I was like, you did steal you did steal furniture from the White House. You did take all this stuff. I was so pissed off. I'm like, you have 4,000 Reese's peanut butter cups here. And you're only giving me one to give to him. And you don't think about giving one to me also? Yeah. I was like, this says everything you need to know about the Clintons. I was so down.
Wow. I mean, I have a story about that.
To know and love Hillary Clinton, but at the time,
I love Hillary Clinton.
I do too. But at the time,
I believe Michelle knows the story. I cannot tell it now, but about that time period with Hillary not being a very nice person to the people who were around her. But I have a soft spot for Hillary now. In hindsight,
gotta watch that 4-part docu-series on Hulu. I know you did. And it changed my whole opinion. This is what I'm saying. It's like to be a woman who, first of all, went to law school during Vietnam and had the men sitting next to her, leaning over, saying, "How dare you be here? Because you're taking a spot from a man." Coming up, trying to become an attorney. Didn't she fail the bar or something? I forget. There was something
past the bar. She's too smart to fail.
No. She couldn't get hired.
Yeah, maybe that was it. There was something there was some roadblock.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Bader Ginsburg, same thing.
And then so she's with Bill Clinton and she is the brains. She's all the things behind him. If it hadn't been for her, he never would have been governor of Arkansas. He never would have been president of the United States. And it's when you have decade after decade after decade of the right-wing media machine attacking you in every way possible. You have to have, grit and steel. You have to be like the steeliest skin. And I when I see her, it makes more sense to me why people are like, oh, she's cold or whatever. Like, she's protecting herself. I mean, when I met her in 2019, a friend of mine, Jim, his name is Jim Thomas. He used to work at Good Morning America and stuff. And then he was running Now This News. Bill was the yeah. She is. She still is.
It's true.
But my friend Jim worked over at Now This News at the time. And he was like, we need people to come in. We're doing these candidate interviews and we need people to shoot behind the scenes. And I was like, yeah, sure. So the first job that they give me is to shoot behind the scenes with Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton for their book Gutsy.
Wow.
And I just have I was freaking out. I was trying really hard not to lose my mind. But I remember Jim grabbed my camera and he was like, get in the picture. And I was like, oh, thank you. And so I'm in one of the group pictures with the entire female staff that was working that particular day at Now This. It was such a great day. But
that's
yeah,
cool.
I mean,
I do have to say, just to close the loop on that story.
Yeah.
I did then spend time around her, obviously, because we just shared that office. And I'm very close to a lot of her staff still to this day. She is beloved by her staff in a way that I think no other politician is. She takes good care of them. She is good with them. Most of them have gone on to incredible career success. Of their own, and yet they would drop everything for her, and that is a testament to her, because politicians are not like that at all.
No, and I'm sorry, this sounds really obnoxious to say this, but the person who does my hair sometimes, and he's a lovely, lovely person, and I was asking him about her, and he was like, Hillary is my girl. And he's like, I've flown all over the world with her. I've been everywhere with her. And she is just the sweetest, nicest woman to work for. And, I was just like, and there it is. There it is. But,
she's gotten a lot more chill over the years.
Listen, the Chardonnay is helpful.
The walks in the woods don't hurt.
The walks in the woods, God bless. But to the Anthony Weiner thing, so we did look it up, and he was on The View yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this headline. I'm seeing this on MSN. It says registered sex offender Anthony Weiner kicks off his political comeback on The View by making a dig at Kamala Harris. She blew up her campaign. Okay. We want to talk about who blows campaigns up in your laptop that you're using.
Intended.
Right. I mean, first of all, poor Huma. I really
not anymore.
Well, no, not poor anymore.
She's not poor.
That's the glow up. That's the glow up of the century. She's engaged to Alex Soros, who's George Soros's son, obviously. So good for you, girl. You get it. But Anthony Weiner.
Just kidding.
Right, exactly. Anthony Weiner is a registered sex offender. He is a creep. He is a predator. He has no business anywhere near American politics, let alone the Democratic Party. Stay away. He was an impressive guy if you didn't know who he was. People liked him, in Queens or whatever, but when he was in Congress, but like, this is just beyond. This is beyond. Like, what gives you the right to come back? No, go find something else to do.
But this is what our side is doing too. Our side is looking at cues from Trump and Hegseth and Musk and on and on and on. And they are now saying, oh, okay, we want our comebacks too. We were shunned. We were forced out. We were forced into the shadows. He's going to be a registered sex offender for 20 years. I'm the mother of a 12-year-old girl, 15-year-old son. This is what Anthony Weiner went to prison for, friends. Illicit contact with a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And The View, a panel of women, is letting themselves be used to legitimize and normalize what he has done. I don't care if you're changed now, if you're holding yourself accountable, if you acknowledge you made mistakes.
Performative.
Some things you don't come back from. And if it's my daughter, you're not going to be in a room with her ever the fuck for the rest of time. But The View pretending they're going to tough question him while platforming a registered sex offender is normalizing him and doing exactly the same thing as the other side. And none of us are going to fucking stand for this. It's not okay because this is a slippery slope. What are we fucking doing?
Well, let me ask you this. Why was he on The View? Like, what is he?
Well, this is where my question is.
Office, right?
And for anybody watching who doesn't know, Tara was a finalist to fill the 5th seat on The View and has
four times.
Four times.
Yeah, so got passed over.
Hey, Megan.
Their loss in a big way.
Thank you.
But
their loss for sure.
but our gain, obviously. But I wonder what kind of editorial control that they have over the guests. Like, who booked that? What do you think?
He's running for city council in New York.
Right.
How does he get to go to The View?
So, okay, I can tell you some insight into, at least, well, it's been a little bit since I've been over there, but the guests, there's a lot of politicking behind the scenes over there at that show, which I'm sure doesn't surprise anyone. But since this whole thing with ABC, and you guys probably saw the headlines recently that The View was told from the bosses on high over at ABC to lay off Trump and they need to take it easy. And, I'm still friends with, Whoopi over there. I haven't talked to her in a minute, but, and like, they were all kind of like, what? Like, no, we're going to do what we do. And Ana Navarro in particular, was basically like, you're not going to tell me what to do. And so they have been instructed from on high that they need to start doing things that are not always going after Trump and MAGA. So I'm assuming.
So have a sex offender on instead.
Right. I mean, it's like to balance it out here, to have Anthony Weiner on. He's local. He's,
Let's have a Democratic sex offender on. That would be like that. Just makes it even.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what happened.
You know what? Get Cuomo on. You want to have somebody you want to go after as a Democrat? Get Cuomo on.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll be on soon.
Cuomo has a lot of Me Too shit he has to talk about and clean up. Cuomo has gone after those women.
Yes, and has not stopped.
Inexcusably subpoenaing their gynecological record.
Yes, using taxpayer money. He's using taxpayer money to do all of it.
You want to have somebody on to beat up who's a Democrat? Have Andrew Cuomo on. But there's a difference between Andrew Cuomo, as disgusting as what he's doing is.
And what Weiner did.
And a sex offender.
Yes.
I don't care if you.
So the headline in Entertainment Weekly, we didn't have time to load this in, but it says Ana Navarro grills controversial politician Anthony Weiner about being a registered sex offender live on The View. Quote, why should New Yorkers give you a chance at a political comeback? Navarro asked. In an email, Weiner told EW, Navarro asked, quote, tough but totally fair questions. So, I mean, I'm sure that they justified this by saying, well, you're going to get, no question is off limits.
Yeah,
and Anthony Weiner is such a narcissist that he was like, fine, I'll take it. And like he said, well, totally tough, fair question. But again, we shouldn't be platforming him and giving him that opportunity, especially on a all women's panel show like that, where it's like, really?
And look what he's spinning that.
Yeah.
And look what he's spinning that into an interview in Entertainment Weekly that further normalizes him and humanizes him and makes it look like, oh, this was just a slip up. Whoops. No,
it wasn't. And let's not forget that it was fucking Anthony Weiner's laptop that James Comey reopened the investigation into last 2 damn weeks of the election.
Let's talk about blowing up campaigns, dude. Like this is your
shit.
Yeah, this is on you. And here's the thing too, and in like controversial take, but again, Anthony Weiner being a sex offender going after a 15-year-old girl is different than a lot of other politicians having scandals, including, I think Al Franken's thing was way overblown. That's just my opinion. I thought that was insane. But whatever. Huge mistake. Especially I just got a fundraising text like, hi, it's Al Franken. I'm like, make up your mind, guys. Like what's going on? But the other thing here is Eliot Spitzer. Eliot Spitzer was a pretty good attorney general of New York. He was governor, and then he had the whole hiring a hooker thing or whatever, and he got had to skedaddle. I think that in this day and age, he still would have been able to keep his job because people don't care.
You're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was at a cafe. I was at a cafe in Paris. In Paris in October of 2023. My husband and I have been there for like 10 days. It was called Chez Janou, if you know that. We were waiting for a table, and there's all these outdoor cafes or whatever tables. And I looked at my husband. I was like, "Is that Eliot Spitzer?"
Oh my God.
He was like, "Holy shit!" I go, "I can't believe Eliot Spitzer is at this," because like nobody knows him there. I mean, we're in the middle of Paris. So he gets up and he's going to his Uber, and his girlfriend or whoever is like,
"What is she? What?"
She was like, "Uber's here," and she's like yelling it. And Joe goes, "Go say hi, go say hi." And I'm like, So I walked up to him and I was like, "Governor," and he was like. And then he reached out and he's like, "Hi." He's like, "Nice to see you. Nice to meet you." And I was like, "Hi." I was like, "Hello, I'm from New York, blah, 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 blah." But it was a very interesting.
I just have to say that in going down the rabbit hole of the Anthony Weiner stuff, the New York Post headlines during all of that were classic. I was a Hill staffer at the time, and I remember putting up a couple of really hilarious Anthony Weiner New York Post covers when all this was happening, like Weiner exposed, Battle of the Bulge,
Carlos Danger, Carlos Danger,
Carlos Danger no longer doing hard time. Weiner, I'll stick it out. Weiner roast, grilled over imposter sleuth photo. Obama beats Weiner, which was I think the one that that one right there. I think that's the one that I actually The
jokes write themselves.
They really do.
So many. I mean,
and that was the summer. That was the summer that John Oliver was at the desk for Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart was off directing a movie, and they were doing the Carlos Danger thing like almost every single night. It was hilarious.
Can't keep Weiner down.
Yeah,
Puma cuts off Weiner. I mean, it was just there was just too much. Now again, what he did was not funny, but
no. But the jokes. I mean,
of headlines.
But can we go back to just real fast? Just go back to the fact that Bob Iger and the ABC Up on High. That what they're doing, again, we talk about this every single time we talk, is the obeying in advance bullshit. And what the Stephanopoulos precedent set up is not going to stop. It's not going to stop with ABC. It's not going to stop with CBS, who is also bending the fucking knee now. And we need these people to stand up and say, no, hello, 60 Minutes, right? Like, no, I'm not going to do this. And what Bob Iger, who politically is not aligned with Donald Trump, is doing right now is shameful. And history will look back on this moment. And those women on The View, I get it. They need to do what they do to get along to stay there. But like, I would say, I am not interviewing fucking Weiner.
I mean, I would, I wouldn't have. I would have been like, I'm not doing it, and then let them, you know, what if they want to fire me because of it or whatever, then the headline will be what it is. But I would not have been okay with it. I would not have been okay with it.
I think, Sarah, where we are today is that
Charlie Rose,
somebody will be fired.
Yeah.
And there'll be 1 or 2 bad headlines, and then that show will move on, and that person will be out of a job, right?
Yep.
No, I know it's tough. It's hard.
They know it.
Right? I know, and they know that, and that's why. And that's let me just tell you something else about that. That's part of the reason why that I'm not on The View.
Yeah.
That's the reason, because I have never compromised who I am. That's why the name of my Substack is Uncompromised. And I've paid a price for that. You know, not playing the game has a price.
Yes, it does.
And that's the reason why someone like Anna Navarro or, you know, Alyssa Farah Griffin, they're willing to go along with it because they want to be famous and they like the money. And I've got news for you. The gig is the View is one of the easiest gigs on television. You're on air for a total of maybe 38 minutes when you include network breaks, and you make a very healthy salary. You get catered to. You have the best hair and makeup people and fashion wardrobe folks in the business. I love those guys there. But I've got to be honest with you, not all money is good money.
That's right.
As much as I wanted to have that platform because I felt like I could have reached millions of people in a way that show has yet to do, you know, in that's more substantive and more real. That is why I'm not on The View. I was passed over for Meghan McCain. I was passed over for what's her name? The Meghan McCain's bestie that needed her pacifier, the billionaire's daughter.
Yeah, from Utah.
Oh yeah, Abby Huntsman.
Yeah. I was passed over then for Anna Navarro, and then I was passed over for Alyssa Griffin this last time. And I gotta say that all the other ones, I was like, that's the business. You know, Meghan McCain was a bigger name. You know, Abby Huntsman, again, billionaire's daughter, and Meghan McCain threw a temper tantrum, so she wanted her on the show because she felt she was getting beat up on. Fine, you know, whatever. Anna Navarro, we're very different people. She has her role. I'm very, 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 very different than her. And so a lot of times people put us in the same sentence, but we are very different people. And I'm going to just keep that there. Yeah. And then, but the one that burned me the most was Alyssa Farah Griffin this last time, because you've got to be kidding me.
Yep.
This woman she said it was the honor of her life to serve in the Trump administration. And she was part of that administration and made a business decision, a calculated decision to become a never Trumper or a critic of Donald Trump in order to get her CNN contract and her seat at The View.
Stayed to the bitter end.
Until the very bitter end, when she saw it all starting to burn down. And then all of a sudden she had a crisis of conscience and left. Please. Her father was Joseph Farah, who ran WorldNet Daily, which was one of the most whack job, conspiracy theory, racist nut job websites during all of the Trump administration. WorldNet Daily used to talk about like probes up your ass and UFOs, all the way to Donald Trump. I mean, to Barack Obama and his fake, you know, birth certificate and all of that. That was WorldNet Daily. That's her father. That's what she came up with.
I didn't know that.
I mean, you know, so for me, losing out on The View to that anybody else, I would have been like, fine, and this is what it is, fine. But to lose to her was a particular affront to me.
I don't know if you noticed this, Tara. She has moved much further back to the right since Trump has come back.
Of course.
Yeah, it's safe now. It's safe now.
The water's warm.
Yeah, which I find fascinating. Here's my attitude about anybody who worked for Donald Trump. If you stayed after Charlottesville, I don't want to hear about how you're a never Trumper now. You became a never Trumper after January 6th or after he lost the election, when you never thought he was coming back.
Correct.
If you stuck around after Charlottesville, and I'm talking to you, Christopher J. Christie.
Oh, don't even.
And others like him.
Yep.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
No.
I just don't.
And eat the meatloaf, Chris Christie, by the way, who almost died in the service of Donald Trump's descendancy, by the way, can fuck all the way off. Sorry,
had to go check himself into the hospital because he knew things were not going to go well.
And while coaching a guy who had COVID and knew he had COVID and went and debated Joe Biden anyway, right? So Chris Christie, remember that infamous story about Donald Trump said, eat the meatloaf. You order the meatloaf. I order the meatloaf. I will always call Chris Christie meatloaf for this reason, right? Because that's when you fucking hate that guy. You put that guy's son-in-law's dad in jail for good reason. Now, ambassador to France, bringing it all the way back to France.
We talked about this Thursday on our steak show with Julie. She was with us. Yeah.
Talk about normalizing bad behavior, which again, but my 2 cents on what people on The View and others are doing is by consistently letting people take bites of your integrity, right, Tara, about the idea of not being compromised. They're going to take bite after bite after bite, and you let them take those bites, and then there's nothing left. They're not going to stop. Once you let them start, they're not going to stop. I'm not talking about Farrah. She doesn't have any core. There's no integrity there. She's never going to be compromised because she doesn't give a fuck. She's as weathercocky as the weathercock can weathercock. The rest of them are selling their souls for what? A paycheck that will evaporate as soon as their faces go south and some other cute little pundit pops up and they need more ratings, just like every other show that brought on an Oliver on Brady Bunch or a fucking Leonardo DiCaprio on Growing Pains. You're going to be replaced by some cuter model of yourselves, and you gave yourselves up. You gave up what was left of you for what? Something fleeting. That will be your legacy, and I won't cry one fucking tear for you when it is.
Yeah. Well, and just say, well said, Julie, and I mean Jojo, and I'll say this one, about Whoopi. Whoopi has been someone who has not put up with the bullshit.
Yeah.
And they have marginalized her, you know, like for years. Like it's been like, when she got suspended a couple of years ago it was like not okay for what she got suspended for. But, she said the apology, and it was like, but Whoopi has always been the one that's like, no. And and they've marginalized her. Yeah. And that's, I don't know how much longer she's going to put up with that, because it's also, it's a good gig for her. And I hear you got to, you got bills to pay, but she has not, if you notice, you don't see her going soft. She'll you're right. Because there are 6 of them. So she can be like, well, I'm going to take a day off. Right. Or she will still go out there and say what she's going to say. And then be like, I'm an EGOT. And I have life experience. And I don't always say the right thing sometimes, but I'm honest, and you're gonna get what you get from me.
Yeah. So like, Molly, you in danger, girl. And, that's right. and here's a bigger thing. I think bigger than The View, bigger than Bob Iger in this situation. And this is gonna sound like tale as old as time, but I've seen it in my own life recently. It's very, very disappointing, but and really kind of soul crushing to see it in real time and realize that this is actually happening, is that there are people that are in a class of their own that have so much wealth, and they have so much maybe power or status or both, that they don't really have a center. They have views that they give money to, that they donate to. But at the end of the day, they will protect their own class and their own power structure before they will speak up, before they'll do anything, before they, refuse something. You'd be surprised how many Democrats, I'm not talking about Hillary Clinton and Obama and stuff, right? These are like, former elected officials. I'm talking about very, very wealthy, otherwise Democratic people attending Donald Trump's inaugural events, things like that. Who otherwise, don't like him, but, he's president now and we're going to do business with him. And like the people, they just don't care. No. People don't care about regular folks. And when you get to that succession level of wealth and influence, it's all just a game. And for anybody who watches Succession or watched Succession, it's like Shaban, right, is the Democrat, and Roman is the alt-right, crazy right-winger. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because it's really just about protecting your own power, your own status in the world. And here's the thing. When the meteor comes and hits the earth, we're all the same.
Yeah.
There is no escaping it. And when we all have to meet our maker, I will feel good, and I will go into whatever that is, whether it exists or not, knowing that I've always done the right thing. And I think the four of us here can all say that about ourselves, not compromising our values, our families, or the things that we believe in, trying not to hurt people, and always trying to keep our integrity. So, that's kind of just where I'm at.
I think, there's also something to be said. And I know this from my Fox days, right? Like I remember walking out of the 5, which by the way, now, and even back then was, I think, the #1 show in cable news, cable period. And when you talk about ratings, I mean, they leave The View in the dust. But I remember walking out of the studio of the 5, and there would be people who would figure out where the 5 was taped because it wasn't taped right. It probably still isn't. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe it is now, in the main building, but a little breezeway across the way. That was where the 5 studio was. It was called Studio D. And there was a little breezeway in between the main studio and Studio D, and people who really were into Fox figured out that that's where the show was taped. So they would gather there when you would walk out. And I cannot describe to you how much some of my co-hosts, and I'll let people figure out which ones I'm talking about, but some of them really think the best is yet to come. This was like the highlight of their lives when people would come up to them and start screaming and asking for autographs and asking for selfies and asking for, like, they could not breathe. They could not live. This was like the air they breathed. They were not acknowledged as the celebrities that they were. Like, a life would be finished and over if they were no longer famous. And I think there's a lot to be said for people who are on TV not being able to live without that level of celebrity. They cannot stand not being famous.
Yeah, that's the problem. Same thing with these senators and politicians that won't let it go either, right? We talk about that all the time. They can't imagine life without having the benefits of being a senator or a congressman. And it's
even Clyburn recently, right? Didn't somebody approach him, and his response was, "What am I supposed to do? Give up my life?"
Yes, that is exactly what Jim Clyburn said. He is 80-something years old, and he said that in response to the fact that people were saying, perhaps Senator Clyburn, now that there have been 3 Congressman Clyburn, now that there have been 3 members of Congress who have died since the inauguration, and this horrible bill passed by 1 vote, you might want to consider maybe doing something else with your life. To which he was like, well, what do you mean? I gave up my job. So did Nancy. So did Senny. You didn't give up your job. You gave up your leadership position.
That's not the same.
Not the same.
What, the last 7 to die in Congress have been Democrats? Is that right? Something like that?
Something like that. And I think the last couple Republicans had to resign in shame because of legal trouble.
Yeah. 16 of the way older than them.
Yeah. 16 of the 20 freshman members of Congress who are the oldest are Democrats who were elected in 2020.
Did I tell you this story about Chris Murphy, who is such a, I'm sorry, the girl for a moment, he's such a dreamboat. Ever since the beard, 10 out of 10.
I also appreciate his, that he's well-dressed. I'm just saying.
He is well-dressed. He's
very well-dressed man.
I'm a little dreamy. I'm not gonna lie, but and it's not a Corzine beard. It's a good beard.
His suits fit him. He doesn't wear loafers. Anyways, keep going.
Oh my God.
He's walking across Connecticut right now, and believe me, I'm thinking where can I stalk him? No, I'm kidding. He's Secret Service my way, or some kind of people. But he said at a town hall in North Carolina that when they have that baseball game, it's like the Republicans with the Democrats, whatever, that he has to catch for the Democrats. And it's not because he's a catcher. He never played catcher. He's the only one who can bend down. Because he used to be the youngest senator that we had. And now I think Katie Britt, maybe Josh Hawley, there's a couple of people who are younger than him, but he is definitely the youngest, I believe, on the Democratic side.
And he's 52 or something.
Yes, he's older than me. So I'm 51 almost. And he's older than me. Not by much. Believe me, I done the math. But
he looks like he's in good shape, though.
Let me look. He doesn't want to play catcher. There's nobody on our team who can catch.
Yeah, that is really.
This feels like a red flag. This feels like a sign.
Well, you saw what's happening with Steny Hoyer, right? So the top that triumvirate of Hoyer, Clyburn, and Pelosi, right? They've been the OGs for years and years. They finally stepped aside, but they're still pulling the strings a little bit. But they're all in their freaking 80s, and someone is running a 35-year-old fireman or something is running against Hoyer, and people are all in the primary. under the guise of like, look, we need to lead. Thank you very much. You guys have done amazing work.
Great job.
Great.
Right.
We appreciate you, but it is time to pass the damn torch.
And listen, I mean, in New York, right?
Box
In what was
office,
it,
the youngest
20
box
in
office,
20
right?
in 2018, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ran and primaried what's his face? Crowley.
Yeah.
Crowley.
Yep.
I'm like, don't discount young people. And I say
Yeah.
young people as like, you know, under, I don't know what age. I don't know how old she is. She's like 38 or something now. But at the time, you know, it was, everyone was discounting her and saying, oh, well, young people don't do this and young people can't do. Yes, exactly. Jasmine Crockett. But you know, her shoes are in a museum because she put so many steps in knocking on doors for that primary. She earned that win. She earned it with her own hands and the people who work with her. And so it really is going to take, and listen, she is in many ways a once in a generation kind of candidate. I mean, she is really something else, even whether you agree with her or not. She is quite an impressive young woman. But you know, right.
She's adapted.
She's learned. Oh, absolutely.
Other members of her party refused
right.
to.
And I hope that people see her story and her journey as inspiration to take the chance themselves. You know, no, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if you were a bartender or like where you grew up. Yeah. Anybody can run for office. It doesn't matter. You didn't have to go to Yale or Harvard or have a poli-sci degree. In fact, it's better that you don't. Because you're more in touch with the real world, and you can relate to people, and you know what people care about. You know what hurts them and helps them. You know,
that's what the founding fathers wanted. That's why they created the People's House. Yes. They didn't want people that were the snobby snobs going to the House of Representatives. That's what the Senate was for.
Yeah,
like, so that was to balance it out. Right. And so, you know, that idea and the fact that, in the irony that MAGA is actually denigrating people like AOC. You know, we need more. I forgot what some asshole said.
They can't make up their minds
or whatever.
They can't make up their minds. They're like, Carolyn Levitt's like, oh, we need more plumbers in trade school. Yes, absolutely. People should be going to trade school. Not everyone is meant to go to college, and that's okay. But
unless you have a left of center viewpoint, like I don't
agree with and then
policies, it has nothing to do with that. We're not talking about that. We don't. We're not right now. Just to be clear, we're not saying that we agree with everything that AOC believes in politically.
Sure.
We're talking about her story and and what she represents there.
Absolutely. Ladies, I need to run because I have somebody coming to my house that I need to deal with right now. I'm so sorry because
that's okay. We're gonna wrap it up today anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the cuck chair discussion of this because I did not know what that was.
I know. I had the Bongino clips all set up for you.
You know what? We should play them anyway. I'm only sorry that I'm not going to be around for Bongino, other than to say I worked with Dan Bongino. Of all the people I worked over there at that network, I don't know if he and I overlapped when he was a contributor. I think he became a contributor afterwards, but he was on Sean Hannity all the time. There is no more miserable human being that I ever came across. And I say that as somebody who worked at Fox News.
He hates my guts.
I guts. That's a good trend. Thanks, Julie. Feel
better.
Bye,
Julie. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Eat some bananas. I think that's a good transition to kind of like close out the show on the Bongino thing.
Well, and before we do that, though, I just want to say just another thing about normalizing Trump and making him okay. So this happened. So the Miss America organization, which, if you know, our National Press Secretary Mallory Hagan was Miss America in 2013. I competed in the organization when I was much younger. And, you know, for all of its faults, which it does have, it really has served as a platform for women to earn money to go to school, to further, you know, things that they care about with the platforms that the contestants choose. There was a period of reform when Gretchen Carlson came in and they were trying to make it better and Miss America 2.0. But since then, Miss America has gone from being a nonprofit, which it was for decades, to now it's a company. And it is run by a woman whose name I can't remember exactly right now. It is Robin Fleming is her name. She is uber MAGA. super, super MAGA. And it's pretty obvious that the kind of girls that they want participating in Miss America now are a certain kind of gal, including this woman, Miss America 2025, Abby Stockard, was invited to the Oval Office with President Donald Trump to discuss the life-saving mission of the Promise Fund. Yes, I'm sure that's why she was invited, to talk about women's health care, which she has cut, including cancer research. So, listen, they had her out parading at the inauguration with a Maha dress on, Make America Healthy Again. And then they had her at a UFC fight where Andrew Tate is in the same picture frame as her, an actual like sex offender who has now been arrested in the UK along with his brother. And now there's this. And I can't tell you, as you know, someone who benefited from the Miss America program as a very young person, it gave me a platform to be able to perform and to speak in public for the first time. Really, I learned a lot, made a lot of friends, met some really wonderful people. And I tried to give back for as long as I could. I know Mallory feels the same way. That's how I met Mallory. I was a judge at Miss New York City or whatever it was, and she was a contestant. And I was like, "Who the hell is this?" She was like, you know, lit up the room, amazing. But you know, it's. I can't tell you how upsetting this is. I mean, the Andrew Tate thing was the nail in the coffin, but this is like they have lowered the coffin into the ground and are now covering it up. Like, I want the organization to fail. I want it to dissolve. I want it to go away. They have, you know, there are former Miss America or former Miss New Yorks and things like that have commented on this post since it was posted yesterday. And whoever is running the social media of the Miss America program has deleted any negative comment from a large account. So if you go to Miss America on Instagram or any other account, maybe just let them know. Let them know how you feel about all of this, that you want a young woman in spaces where there are adjudicated rapists and sex offenders. And that's the kind of example that we want to be setting for young women and young women leaders in this country. So on behalf of myself and every other woman who stands against this administration and everything that they stand for, you know, how dare you? How dare you? And I hope that they dissolve and are thrown into the dustbin of history. I think we're done with Miss America. I think it's time that it's over.
Yeah. Once again, everything Trump touches. You know,
listen, it's a good phrase.
It is, and this is another example of that.
Look at Jake Tapper's ratings right now. Like
lowest they've ever been.
Look around and find out, friend. I mean,
Jake Tapper's, just to reiterate what Joe said, because I stepped on you. It's Jake Tapper's ratings are the worst they have ever been since he's been on his little book tour with Alex Thompson. And you know,
but he sold 150,000 books, so it's okay. He's doing great.
Good for him. I hope, like I said, all money isn't good money. And
that's true. That's true. I just want to because I saw a couple things on here, just on the Miss America front there. So Miss America, I just want to say that's the one that started in Atlantic City over 100 years ago. It has for decades been a nonprofit that provides scholarship money for women. It is different from Miss USA. Miss USA was always a corporate entity that was owned by Donald Trump.
Yep.
These are two very different organizations / companies and were for a long time, but I understand the confusion. But Miss America was always like the good one, and they've gone to the bad place. So that's the thing there. Anyways.
Well, speaking of this, because we all have to go in a couple minutes, but I'm wearing my Blue Lives Matter hat today because on Monday, Jim Acosta is doing a town hall in DC. And I'll be on the panel, and so will Michael Fanone, Officer Fanone, and Officer Harry Dunn, along with Olivia Troy and some others.
Jasmine. Yeah, I saw she's going to be there
now. Rosie O'Donnell, I believe, is going to
Yes, I did see that.
I believe she's joining remotely from Ireland, but she'll still be joining. And and Miles Taylor, it's going to be a really, really good town hall in DC. So if you're in the DC area on Monday, the event is at 6:30 at the Lincoln Theater in DC. I believe it is a ticketed event, but speaking of people who are uncompromised, who actually have stood up for what they believe in, who've paid an unbelievable price for it. From Jim to the officers, like everybody, like this is going to be, I think, a really good town hall. So I just wanted to do kind of a shameless plug while we had people on that if you're in the DC area, Monday, the town hall with Jim Acosta in DC starting at 6:30. I think the tickets are on Ticketmaster and the Lincoln Theater's website. So, and Jim has posted a bunch of stuff too.
So Monique is asking if this is going to be live streamed.
I do not believe it's going to be live streamed. It will be streamed after
the
fact. Yes, it not like the other one. This one is a little bit different because it is a ticketed event.
Yeah, so, you want the people in the theater to get the experience first, and then they'll publish it after the fact. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So, shameless plug for that. And I think also that transitions into us making fun of someone like Dan Bongino, who is not an honorable person and who is the fucking worst. And between him and Stephen Miller getting just completely dragged, I think that we can spend 5 minutes on going after them.
Oh yes. Let's play the first. And also, if one of you have the chair picture, do either one of you have it on your phone?
Oh my God, I don't have it.
If you want to send that to me, I will load it up.
Let me see if I have it.
Yeah. In the meantime, we're gonna play clip number 1. Bongino hates his job.
Before we get into specifics, what did you think the job was going to be like? What is it like?
The biggest lifestyle change for me has been family-wise. I mean, we already went through this with my time in the Secret Service. But, when the president called and asked if I would take the job, you can't tell your audience for years, go out and do stuff, talk is cheap. And then when the opportunity comes to do stuff, I didn't mean me, I meant you. It's kind of you're a fraud. I mean, you don't sound like a fraud. You are one. So it was a lot. It's been tough on the family. People ask me all the time, do you like it? I say, no, I don't. But the president asked me to do this to like it. Nobody likes going into an organization like that and having to change things and make big, bold changes. But, I was at one of our facilities yesterday down in Winchester, and a woman who worked there, very nice, said, I used to watch your show. I miss you. I said, I miss me too. Part of you, part of you dies a little bit when you see all this stuff from behind the scenes.
Part of you dies a little bit when you're the deputy FBI director.
Can I just motherfucker? Sorry, Julie's dad. Maybe Julie's dad's not watching anymore.
Yeah, maybe not.
That Bingo Bongo went after me. When was this? Last year, right around my birthday. Right around
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong. He said, he tweeted, "Do not fuck around with me unless you really want to find out." So I said, "Didn't Fox fire you?" We have the screenshot. I just sent it to you, Michelle. Didn't Fox fire you?
Okay.
Did we miss when you made them find out for that? Here's what he wrote back. "This poor, unfortunate soul. Oh, woe is me." He wrote, "Yes, you missed it. You were too busy in the back of a car taking care of business. I think you know what I mean. Oh, you poor family man, you. Oh, woe is me, the victim. You miss your family because you signed up to be Kash Patel's little bitch. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. You fucking..."
In Macy's window.
Here it is.
Thank you.
Wow.
Slut shames goes right to slut shaming me.
God, he's
Why?
so
Because I dragged his ass. Because he's a piece of shit. And believe me, it worries me. It does that he has excessive power now that should not be in his hands. He shouldn't be in charge of changing the urinal cake and the truck stop on the Oklahoman Panhandle at 2 a.m. But this is not where we are now. So let's cry a river for Dan Bingo Bongo Gino.
Bing Bong.
Yes, the Bing Bong, which actually
is like a Knicks thing.
A Knicks thing. Let's go Knicks today, please. They've got to win. I know, Joe. I'm so jealous. You get to go to the games.
Not tonight. No more games. Joe's done. Joe's done going to games.
Oh my God! Listen, Dan Bongino is one of the most unhinged, unqualified people to ever have a badge and a gun, and now being in charge of the FBI. After his, isn't that position Senate confirmed or no?
No,
it's not, right? That's right. On purpose. That's right. They gave him, Kash Patel was, which the fact that motherfucker is the FBI director is just absolute insanity. and a travesty of justice that there wasn't two Republicans that said no after his history of what he has said and done. Dan Bongino is worse because
he's very emotional.
He's like a roid rager.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is out of control. He is the worst kind of person to ever have a badge and a gun. The fact that he was not only a New York City police officer and a Secret Service agent scares the shit out of me that someone like that would be able to have that kind of career. He is the absolute worst. And his brother, by the way, was caught up in the Columbia prostitute scandal and got fired from the Secret Service, as far as I'm aware, with his role in that. But anyway,
Jesus Christ.
But him going on Fox News and having like a Dr. Phil therapy session about this, about having one of the most important jobs in the world when it comes to law enforcement, because the deputy director is in charge of the day-to-day operations. They're in charge of the 36,000 people and 12,000 gun carriers in the FBI. And the fact that he's bitching about this because he can't scream into a microphone anymore like a wild asshole that he is, an unhinged psycho that he is in oh, woe is me. You know what then? Don't take the job. Don't take the job, because guess what? It is a whole hell of a lot easier to scream into a microphone.
Yeah, like a hyena.
Into the void, right? About what you notionally what it's like to do these jobs, but when it comes to time to actually do them,
well, here's some more crying. I'm going to play some more crying.
I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment, but I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife, not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI, you're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more thing.
Did you see their faces? Did you see their faces? If you look, they're all
Brian Kilmeade's like, no, you're doing a good job.
Yeah,
like,
but Brian Kilmeade's face, by the way, just a sidebar. I feel like Brian Kilmeade's face always looks like he just smelled his own fart and he's not sure he likes it. Resting, I don't know if I like the smell of my own fart face, but the rest of them are like, really? You just said you work from 6 to 7 and that's killing you? Really?
I mean, first of all, no one believes that. Right. Second of all, why are you, given the nature of the job, why are you staring at four walls? Like there's nothing else for you to fucking do.
And also, why are you complaining about having to work 10 hours?
Right.
Like, yes.
And my last job, like, I'm not complaining here, but it required a lot of time. And I sometimes worked 70, sometimes more hours a week. Like that's in these kinds of jobs, like it's normal.
Your current job, this is what, you know, for us.
I know. I wake up and then
24 hours a day for us. Oftentimes it's 20 hours a day. We're only not working when we're sleeping.
Yeah. And we don't get federal health benefits and all that shit too.
And don't sleep on the fact that he said you're moving buildings. By the way, yeah, they're displacing the FBI. They're moving them out of their headquarters, not because of some efficiency bullshit. They're going to do this with all the buildings, friends, because they're going to sell them. That's what they're going to do. And that money's not going to us. It's not going to the United States government. It's going to one place. Well, it's going to the people who are going to buy it, right?
Right. And not only that, they are displacing hundreds of FBI agents who, for their whole careers, have been, you know, they're committed to being public servants in the best, the most prestigious law enforcement agency in the world. And these fuckers are trying to displace them, 1,500 of them all over the place, uprooting their lives and their families for revenge and for retribution, and then going after anyone that actually worked on the Trump cases or any of the, you know, the federal case, the corporate cases, again, you know, fraud cases. They are exacting revenge on these FBI agents who actually were doing the public servants work here. And this fucking guy comes in and Kash Patel comes in and they are uprooting the FBI and ruining the organization.
Yep.
So You know what?
And-
Fuck off, Dan Bongino. Nobody cares.
Well,
how about this? Fuck your feelings, which is what you say to people all the time
right.
on your show.
So
You're
emotional.
on about that. You're the
whiny
fucking
little
snowflake. And you know what you should be worrying about? Go find your fucking hairline. Worry about that.
Maybe Stephen Miller can lend you some spray on hair.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, wait. Speaking of Stephen Miller and
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
Just speaking of Stephen Miller and being fucking emasculated.
So
I set it up for you.
Yeah. So we can start here just for some background. Joe, you go ahead. You take it.
Well, I don't know if everyone is familiar with this story, but if you're not, you should be, because rumors are swirling that Stephen Miller's wife, Katie, has left her administrative job in the White House to work for Elon Musk to do like whatever, basically be his Girl Gal Friday, right? So she's left to go, and we know this slope, right? When people leave jobs to go work with Elon Musk, they seem to end up impregnated. And but the best, most salacious tea here is that there were rumors and are rumors that they are a throuple. But I know, guys, I hope if you're not sitting down, sit down. Do not eat, do not drink, get anything out of your mouth right now, because this is the shit that's gonna make you puke. And if it helps, try and picture your grandmother getting out of the bathtub to erase the ugly stuff you're about to put into your head, because the throuple is Elon, Katie, and Nosferatu, Stephen Miller. And so the Democratic Party yesterday, they are getting some things right now in their social game, y'all. I'm just going to say this.
They were going to give the Democrats credit for something.
I'm giving credit for this. They tweeted the Daily Beast story.
Yeah. Here's the story. Here's the original story that they tweeted. Here's the Daily Beast.
Right. So Elon Musk poaches Stephen Miller's wife, which, by the way, I don't even know if wife is the right word here. It's like, I don't even know what you could call it.
They
poaches his Ava Braun. So she goes to work with Elon. And then this evolves into the Daily Beast story, which I think, Michelle, that's the next picture you have, right? So this is, So the Democrats post this picture without really any commentary, just tagging Stephen Miller. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with the term cuck chair. It is new to me in the last year of my life, and it has revolutionized a lot of things about my hotel stays. But that's right there, with no commentary other than Stephen Miller being tagged, is a cuck chair. And what happens notoriously in these cuck chairs is that the cuck, who is in this case Stephen Miller, is to be watching Katie, Ava Braun, to his disgustingness, getting fucked on the bed, presumably not by Elon, Tony Stark, skin like an aspic mold Musk. That is trolling on a level. I mean,
it's so good.
Hand it to them, and this along with Taco has been a week where the Democratic Party at large has gone on offense.
Yeah,
and this is what we need to do. Shamelessness is amazing when it works, and this is shameless. And
this is the way. This is the way. You are not above this, Democrats.
No.
You are not above this. And it's funny. I saw in the comments on this post, someone said, I don't know what new social team you've hired in the last couple months, but good job. This is a long way from that too many word post you did a couple months ago. That was just awful. Yes. And it is like, this is the stuff. Yeah. This is the stuff. You got to troll these people because listen, Donald Trump and all the people that surround him, they don't like to be laughed at. They don't like to be made fun of. They don't like to be humiliated. You have to humiliate these people. It is, you can't shame them. There is no shame. Shame. No. But you can make fun of them. You can go to the deepest, darkest places and pull things out and humiliate them. And that's what you must do. Mm-hmm. That's what you must do.
Yes. They're so triggered by this shit.
Yes.
Like, and the taco thing, I know we're on Stephen Miller now, but like, this is why weird worked. This is why when I said no one likes JD Vance, it launched them into a tirade where I had Mike Lee in my freaking comments.
Oh my God. Right.
The couch. The freaking couch. The couch worked when JD couldn't order a donut. Couldn't order a donut, friends.
Oh my God.
That's why when the kid for the I See Dead People, what's his name? I'm not kidding. When he
Haley Joel Osment,
Haley Joel Osment trolled him on Kimmel and went out there and did a donut, whatever makes sense, and then punched the glass to get a donut like that. This cuck chairs. Call him Stephen Cuck Miller. Call Taco all day long.
Yeah.
Trump always
taco and cheese
out. Just do it.
Soft chicken taco.
Soft chicken taco. I mean,
but this is why I would take a picture of Stephen Miller with that drawn on hairline that he did, which he did. He went on TV. I would put that on a billboard. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Humiliate these people, because when they get angry, they lose control of their emotions and they make mistakes. And listen, like, well, do we really want them making mistakes? Yes, we do, because it weakens them. It weakens their position. It weakens their ability to do bad things. So, you know, this is the way, unfortunately, in 2025, our year of the Lord, that we have to handle with things. You have to get down in the mud with them. It's one of the ways. There are many, many ways, but this is the most public, because, and you know, yes, the internet is not real life, that Twitter's not real life, and it's not, but because there are so many people in the media that are reading and watching and ingesting this stuff, it does become part of the news cycle. And that's how these things work their way into the narrative. They work their way into the conversation, even the couch thing, because the couch thing was made up.
Completely.
But he couldn't prove that it didn't happen. And it was a believable thing that it could have happened, because he's so weird. And this is where, unfortunately, again, where like the Democrats lost their way a little bit during the campaign, is because the weird thing and the couch thing was working and it was funny. And then they kind of were like, oh, well, this maybe we're above this. This isn't what we're going to do. Like, we're too good for this. No, you're not. You're not too good for this.
You have to learn how to balance both. And ridicule and mockery is something that is used as a weapon, and that is absolutely true. And I see that in the comments, they, you know, A Power said Mary Trump has been saying this since the beginning. Mockery is a weapon. You're exactly right. And it's like there are ways to do this. Because guess what? The other side, oh my God, is called Taco Bell. That is amazing. Amazing, J Mac. Thank you for that. We had not seen that. That's amazing.
No, we have to gobble up the oxygen. That's the way you win, right? That's how they've done it. That's how they've done it.
Exactly. They do it. They also do it with violence. And really horrible things. We don't. You can
that's the line.
You can mock them without the level of violence that they have with theirs. Like, we're not putting pictures out there or memes of Donald Trump or Stephen Miller being tied up in the back of a truck, to be assassinated or kidnapped or killed.
It's not God forbid
they take it to another level.
No, we're taking pictures of shells in the sand, and that gets you an FBI visit. And again, just to their hypocrisy. I know we're done. We're wrapping. We're wrapping. I just want to point out, and Michelle, if you don't mind, it's a little bit of a sidebar from this, but just to speak to their depravity. Well, I don't know if you guys remember when Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis first came out. We were all waiting for Trump to be a motherfucking asshole, because he's a sociopath. And he was like, oh, he put out some kind of lukewarm statement.
That he didn't write, and I'm sure had no say in.
You knew it was coming. And what happened yesterday, in addition to Joni Ernst saying, we are all going to die, when asked about Medicaid cuts, leaving people to die, and we don't have to play that one because it's like really triggering. But here's what Donald Trump said yesterday, if you don't mind hitting this one. And of course, I know we want to end a mockery and stuff, but we can't also forget that this is a terrible person who is setting a terrible precedent and establishing like a legitimacy and a normalization of being your most depraved, awful, horrific, inhumane version of yourself. And this is what he said about Joe Biden having stage 9, as he said, not another time, cancer, a diagnosis that very likely will lead to a precipitous, God willing it does not, but demise for someone I personally love very fucking much. So this is what Donald Trump said yesterday about Joe Biden.
He's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry, because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him, but he's been a sort
But it's just fucking unspeakable. And you know what? This is what we're actually going to end on, because if you are pissed off about this and you are sick and tired of someone as depraved, cruel, ignorant, narcissistic, and felonious as Donald Trump is, then there's ways that you can make your voice heard. And that is by going out to the protests, that's speaking up. And we at Seneca are working with Indivisible, because as Jojo likes to say, Donald Trump's small in the pants parade on June 14th is not about celebrating our army. It's not about celebrating the flag. It's about Donald Trump being a wannabe king and dictator, and we don't fucking do that in America. So if you guys are around Philadelphia, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Charlotte, those are the anchor cities. Indivisible is doing a huge protest nationally called No Kings. We are not kings, and we don't do kings in America. That's not what we do here. And they have 700 other locations across the country where they're going to be doing these protests that day against that. The No Kings movement, we are 100% bought into that. In Seneca, we're putting stuff together for that to promote it as well. Also, if you want to wear your patriotic pride, please do that, because they don't own the flag. They don't own patriotism. They don't own the army. This is not about Donald Trump being a king, and we need to put a stop to that. Shameless plug, Seneca, we have our American Girls Never Back Down red, white, and blue hats and t-shirts over at senecaproject.us. So if you want to help support us and wear that with pride on that day or any day, please go ahead and do that. But this is how we do it. We, the people, there are more of us than those who are okay with what Donald Trump is doing to this country. Things like that he said, these bullshit parades, it's going to cost $100 million, but they're cutting kids with cancer programs and our military veterans benefits, Medicaid and everything else. But he can go and have this parade so he can feel like a big man, where he's so weak that this is what he needs. No, we say absolutely the fuck not in this country. And that's one of the things that we can do that doesn't cost money. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to do one in your local town, you can do that, because Indivisible has a whole you can go to their website and they have if you want to sponsor an event in your town, they show you how to do that. So this is what we need to do. As the collective anger of the righteous anger of the American people is what is going to push back against this. We cannot stay silent about it. And this is where it starts. It has to start from the ground up. We're not going to, no one's coming to save us but us. And this is one of those examples of where we can do that, because this is bullshit. And I think I'm not the only one who feels like this. And the American people are like, what can we do? Well, as we are still free and free people in this country, let's use our collective voices to say not no, but hell no.
Hell no. Amen, Sarah. Really no notes. Just call your senators too and tell them to say fucking
right.
No.
Speak up.
Big billionaire boner bill. No. Nope.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
The only way out is through, and the only way through is together, and we're gonna fucking do this. We don't have any options.
Yeah. And if you can't protest, if you can't, and not everybody can, and we get that, spread the word. Don't be silent. Spread the word and support those who are able to, because we do this also to be a vessel for those who can't. That's why we are the voice for the people who cannot do it. And that's why there's people like us who are out here and other organizations out here standing in the breach, because we have to. That's the only way we're going to survive, and this democracy is going to survive, is if we do that. So
Yep.
That's that. On that note.
And the dope Pope is having his own event during the small.
Yeah, he is.
Chicago, live via Zoom or whatever it is.
The Pope is having a thing in Chicago at where the White Sox play. Yeah. While he also has given Opus Dei 6 months to get their shit together, which
big deal.
And right, and on the same couple of days where Donald Trump was truth socialing about the Federalist Society and Leonard Leo, who is Opus Dei and has been, putting all the Opus Dei Supreme Court justices on the bench, and told him he was a sleazebag. So the whole thing is just
just out there for the taking. There are cracks. There are cracks happening.
There are cracks.
Yep. So I'm going to play us out with Bully Pulpit Prick to just remind everyone, not that we need a reminder, just how horrendous this human being is that is leading our nation in the world. And then go to Tara's Substack, Uncompromised. Go to JoJo's Substack. Are you effing kidding me? Her podcast is number 8 in the country on Apple Podcasts for what was it? Is it News and Politics or what is it?
Politics, I think.
Government and Politics, something like that. JoJo's podcast is now number 8 in the country. So
and it's called Stanish.
Oh,
Stanish.
yes.
Stanish.
Yes.
Yes, because it's impossible to be completely sane right now.
Listen, I almost wore my other hat, my adult-ish hat. Oh, it's over there. I love that hat. I got it in somewhere. I don't know. And I'm like, I wear that hat like all the day.
It's perfect. But
I wanted to support my police officers.
And we're definitely going to be checking that out too, Tara. That's awesome.
Yes. And then join us on Wednesday at noon for Over It. We are going to have the host of a very, very, very popular, speaking of podcasts, Golden Girls podcast. And we're going to talk Golden Girls on Wednesday at noon. And it's going to be really, really fun. So I hope you'll tune in and we can dish all about it. And on that note, everyone have a great weekend. I'm going to go take a nap. And everyone.
Go plant. It's a nice day today. I need to go plant some more today.
Yeah.
So, and Casual Observer. No, I don't need a Humpy shirt. Casual Observer.
Humpies.
Oh my
yes,
God.
You do. Yes, you do need a Humpy shirt.
I don't need a freaking Humpy shirt.
You need I want a Humpy shirt. I hate
I don't even know what that is.
The joke is my story about the Yankees and Humpy's bar in Alaska. It's the farthest from Fenway. It's a damn Red Sox bar.
I know, but I mean, it's got to be a cool hat. You know, it's got to be a cool hat.
I know. No, I wish I should have gotten one just as to commemorate that moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, love you guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
All presidents have the power of what's known as the bully pulpit.
During this serious international crisis, President Trump was busy attacking women.
There's something wrong with the woman.
She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She's mean. She's crazy. She's vicious. She's lost it. She is incompetent.
President Donald Trump has attacked the British Prime Minister Theresa May.
He attacked Oprah Winfrey, Sally Yates,
Susan Rice,
Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski.
He called Maxine Waters low IQ.
She's a real beauty.
The president launching a personal attack on MSNBC host Mika Brzezinski.
Now he's attacking Omarosa, comparing her to a dog.
The president lashed out, calling Stormy Daniels, I'm quoting the president now, horse face.
Remember the woman crying? Martha Raddatz. Oh.
He attacks women reporters far more often than he attacks men.
You ask a lot of stupid questions. So horrid in the way you ask a question. You know you're a fake. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
The president also found time to launch a Twitter attack on Bette Midler.
He's attacking Jamel Hill.
Speaker Pelosi.
Hillary Clinton.
Michelle Obama, a 16-year-old climate activist.
He openly mocked Christine Blasey Ford.
What neighborhood was it in? I don't know.
President Trump is someone who knee-jerk attacks the credibility of female accusers.
She's made this charge against others.
Carol claims Trump assaulted her.
I saw her in a picture. She is not my type. Kamala Harris, she could never be the first woman president.
Do American women in this country, can they know that the president has their back?
Well, absolutely not, Katie.